So things are coming on really well inside the rowboat at the moment, and I'm really, really stoked about that. I'm going to show you a few things we've been up to and where we're going. Okay, now, I guess for some of you who don't know, I'm a shipwright, okay? And I'm building the inside of this van like it's this classic sailing yacht. So let me take you inside, all right, and show you what's going on and tell you what we're going to be doing today as well. So we've got all these curves and all that kind of stuff. These are all made by hand. We're trying to do this using like minimal tools everywhere. And all this all these curves, all these cupboards, all these handles and things like this, all just made with basic tools you can pick up your local hardware store. So I'm really pleased at the moment because although it doesn't look like much, it looks like a bit of a mess, we're actually getting somewhere. And this is the most complex part of the build, and we're coming to a close with the galley, if you like, got this port side to do today. So that's the front is to finish this off. So I can tell you a little bit about the cooking and all that kind of stuff. This is really cool stuff direct from the marine world. And these are the draw fronts that are going on here. These are going to be dovetailed. So I'm always excited to do sort of classic hand, I was going to say classic hand jobs. But there's something for you, eh? Oh dear me. Let's just call it classic woodworking instead. So that's going to go on there. Anyway, after that marvellous cock up, I'm going to go and mark these up.
Met a woman, got engaged, time passed, wedding day. Then my feet turned cold at the tone of those wedding bells. I felt bad, everybody got dressed up, but I knew I'd messed up, so I had to fess up that all I really wanted was just to get drunk as hell. So I jilted that poor woman and I got drunk as hell. I'm a talking about hellfire, hellfire, oh hellfire, that's where I'm bound. I'm a talking about hellfire.
Okay, so we're going to do dovetails. This is the draw I'm going to do them on first, and then we'll transfer on to the rest of them as well. There's loads of different types of different dovetails and likes. We're going to do blind dovetails today, and I don't mean I'm going to wear a blindfold, unfortunately. That would be fun, but I'm not going to. What that means is that the dovetail doesn't protrude through the front, so we don't see the squares, because you get tails on one side, and then this blocky sort of square look on the other side. We don't want to see the blocks, because it's obviously the face. Okay, so what I'm going to do is mark an edge here that I don't want it to go deeper than. So the tails will go there, you know, like that kind of thing. Well, actually down here. But I don't want them to protrude through, so I'm going to mark that edge there, how deep I want it to go, and then transfer it onto here. I'll do the tails first, or the pins first, tails actually, and then I'll transfer them onto here. So it's quite a simple procedure, to be honest, so we'll do that now. I need a fancy tool for that though. The fancy tool. This just allows me to mark the depth I want and be able to transfer that. So this is known as a marking gauge. So I'm going to go for there. There we go. That's going to give me the depth and how much I've got left on the draw. They don't need to be strong, these. It's only a camper van, right? Okay, and which one's the face? This is the face.
So whilst Chris is marking out for the dovetails, I just want to take a second to thank BetterHelp for this paid partnership. I'm so grateful for them. They've made therapy so accessible and easy for me. It's been a game changer. Honestly, the stress of this project has been so overwhelming for me. And BetterHelp came along with their mobile therapy app, and honestly, it's been a lifesaver. I've found the stress of everything so much, you know, owning a boat that is so far from being finished, over 1,000 miles away. There's so many logistics, there's the budget, there's Brexit, there's managing all of this, managing your time, and Chris's brain never switches off. And I've just been so overwhelmed with it. And, you know, I used to think therapy was for major things. But honestly, as soon as I unburdened, like it's like taking all your wet weather gear off and your heavy life jacket after a solid night passage, and I've just felt so much lighter and been able to focus on the tasks at hand. So BetterHelp offers therapy on the go, which is perfect for my nomadic lifestyle. I could not hold down a location-based appointment. And with over 1,000 therapists available in the UK, I finally found the right support. You just visit their site, fill in a short survey on your phone for them to match you with a therapist, and if it's not the right fit, it's easy to switch. The scheduling is actually really easy, and the different ways of communicating, you've got messaging, you've got calls, you've got video calls. I find them all really helpful. So if you're struggling and think therapy could help you like it's helped me, then click the link in the description below or go to betterhelp.com/SailHub to get 10% off your first month. You won't regret it.
I thought you was an angel. You flew away just like a bird. I thought you was an angel. You flew away just like a bird. Our trip to heaven was a detour through hell on earth. Spread your pretty wings for me, let me deep inside. When you was good and satisfied, away you would fly. Well, honey, you ain't no angel. You flew away.
All right, so basically what I've got here is my two pieces taped together. I'm lazy, and this is basically the lazy man's way to dovetail. I've marked out my pins, or my tails should I say, and that's what's going on there. I'm going to stick them in a vise and just get them cut. Now, there's loads of different ways of cutting dovetails. I've joined them together. It works pretty well because you can cut both sides of the draw at the same time, which saves a bit of time. Saw I'm using is a great little saw. It's a rip saw, so if you look at the teeth, it's like they all sort of point forward, they're angled upwards. That's what we want for cutting down the grain on hardwoods. This is obviously plywood, but still works a treat. It's a great little saw. Anyway, I guess a lot of the time people would cut these out and they would just cut inside their lines and then use a chisel and pare out to them. But to be quite honest with you, I'm lazy, so I'll just go for the line straight away. I can't be bothered with all that rubbish. Right, let's see where we are here. Light's terrible in here. We're really struggling at the moment because the light is absolutely horrendous. It doesn't look that bad in here, but like for actually seeing tiny knife marks and stuff, it's a nightmare. And of course, Jenny needs the light to actually use the camera, otherwise it just ends up really grainy and horrible. And I need the light to be able to see, so that's what it is. Anyhow, other frustrations are, this is actually the first time I think I've ever done dovetails with plywood, because I'd normally do it with solid woods. It's horrendous, it's not an enjoyable experience, so I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. Anyway, this is where blind dovetails sort of change from normal dovetails. Because these are cut, and I've marked out on here, basically where that sits on there, and these don't protrude through. So we can't cut these right through and then cut them out the same way as we did the tail. So we have to cut the pins, as these are called, by old school kind of blind dovetail setup. So let's go for it. So I kind of cut 3/4 of the way through like this, and then we'll finish the rest with a chisel. I don't know why I didn't think about this earlier. I mean, this is what we used to do years ago, piece of chalk. And then we'll be able to see the lines, look. So I don't want to knock this in right now. If it were hardwood, I would knock that in. But the problem is, I need to take it out to put the routings in for the draw base. And if I knock that in there, the likelihood is as it comes out, it'll pull the veneer off because it's super thin and we don't want to do that. But yeah, it looks below average is what it looks like, but not too bad. It's not too bad given the conditions. Right, I'm bored of this for now. I've got something else to get on with for a quick second, then I'll get back onto the other side. All right, so I'm fixing things again. This is my cock up from a few weeks ago, which I'm sure a few of you will remember the hole that's in here. Right, so what there is there's like 2 sinks go in here, and they go into like a brass fitting, which is pressed into the bottom of the worktop, and that's got some holes drilled in to take those brass fittings. Now unfortunately, when I was drilling the hole to fit those brass fittings, I went right through. Basically I put a stop on my drill and it wouldn't tighten up properly, so it didn't work too well, and it came right through. So I need to sort that out. So I'm going to plug that, but I'm not going to plug that with a normal Forstner and wood plug cutter set. There's a reason for that. So basically I'm going to over drill it and make a plug to go in there, and hopefully we don't really know it exists. When that's finished, I'm going to put another sort of curved area like this on it, just to catch any overspill from the sinks, rather than run down the edges. A little something better than nothing. Okay, so you might be asking, why am I not running a normal plug in there, like a wood plug? Well, because it's a Corian worktop, right, which is, you know, it's a DuPont name for acrylic, I believe. And the problem that is with plastics is when you drill things, they heat up, and plug cutters create a lot of heat. And so what happens is, these are the things, I just did these for Jenny to show her, but they end up warped. So you can't really make a plug completely parallel. And the thing with wooden ones as well is, the tolerances don't have to be as perfect, because when you put glue into the wood swells up from both sides, the plug and the surrounding area. So you can get away with something which isn't quite as tight, and then as it swells up you end up with basically no visible join. So what we're going to do here is to over drill it and make a plug for it. So it's important what we use for a drill. That's a normal drill, or a jobber if you like. It's got this kind of fluted area around the edge, and it sits on a head like that. And this is a wood bit which has got a spike to stop it wandering, and then these bits go in a reverse. All right, and that on a piece of wood scores the edge and stops the tear out, which is why they're so good. Now that's what we want to use, because I want a nice crisp edge on the top that you can see. If I start using these, unfortunately they kind of tear out bits of, you know, plastics and harder materials sometimes, so I don't want to use that. But of course if we put that in, it'll wander. So because we can't use the central spike because there is no hole. There's a hole there now. So it's dead simple. Just got a hole that I've already drilled through, and that goes in there. Okay, so basically all I'm going to do is line that up where I want it over the edge, clamp her in place and use that as a guide and run that through. So that's how we'll get the hole where I want it, and that's a 9mm drill bit. So then I'm going to make myself a 9mm plug. Right, let's get that going. Okay, so 9mm it is, yeah? Let's go and do that. So I've got the lathe out, which is quite handy to have, I must be honest. And well, I'll show you this first. This is a plug cutter that you would normally use to cut wooden plugs or plastic plugs with. And what happens is you drill in like this, and what's left inside the hole here, that's your plug. And you can see this whole area is creating friction all the time, which is what melts the plastic. So you might notice when I was drilling through the countertop, I could go quite slow and then not melt it. So again, with this, the only thing that's touching it is the actual chisel edge, if you like, or the tool edge. So I'm going to pop this offcut in the lathe, and we're going to turn something up using the verniers, just these cheap ones from Aldi, and see what we can achieve. The idea is I'll cut it so that it's a little bit tight, and probably need a bit of a whack to go in. We'll see. I'm just going to go and get a little tiny bit of glue.
Looks as good as new.
Yeah, it'd be hard pressing over there. All right, so I wanted to show you one more thing before we lost the light. And of course, what I'm stood on right now is the boat deck. That's right. So it's I'm going to have to move some stuff. I'll get Jenny to help us move some stuff around. But before I move the first thing, this is the oven. This is from a company called Wallas of Finnish. Absolutely class stuff. It's so well made. I love this thing. Basically, this has got its own burner inside of it, which is like the one inside. Actually, come on, I'll show you this one as well, actually, quickly. I'll grab the light and bring that in here. So in here, we've got another burner from Wallas. This is what we're using to cook on. How cool is that, eh? So this has got its own burner in it as well. So we're running these just on diesel. We'll tell you about all these later, but they're pretty cool because you don't need any gas, which actually can help you save quite a bit of weight, and space is the main thing in a small place. It's all a bit dusty because we've been making them all fit. Right. Whoops. We've got a load of other stuff here as well. This is what we've been machining up. So these are, like we did the curved panels and that before, these are machined up to about 1mm thick bits of walnut. They're for the saloon seating area. There's going to be some cool bends in there. So that's cool. And then under here is the exciting bit, which I'm pretty stoked about. I think sometimes, you know, when you're just looking for something to like set off a look, if you like, and I think if we're trying to make it look like a boat, then a boat's deck is the way to go. So this stuff is it's cork, which is what you see on like some really fancy yachts. So back in the day, people used to use teak, you know. Teak's fantastic, but it doesn't last very long. Maybe 10 years, 15 years, it starts to wear out in a boat. This stuff lasts a lot longer, especially from this company. So this company is a company called Navicork. They're in Portugal. And we spoke to them, reached out to them a while ago to try and get a hold of some of this stuff. And they don't usually deal with DIY people and stuff like that. And we're quite lucky because we are actually a boatyard, so we're able to get stuff because we do professional work for people. And so we've managed to get this to put in the van. We're testing this to see if it's actually up to the job for the boat. Now, I think it will be, because it's so dense. It's like way denser than most cork. And it's just amazing the shapes that I've seen these guys route it into and make shapes of, like bullnose roundings and all sorts of beautiful stuff like that. So they've provided it to us without corking in it, which isn't something they normally do. It's normally all CNC cut and one thing and another to the shapes and all the rest of it. But they've given it to us just as blanks with 100mm spacings, which is what I wanted. And we're going to try and put some different corking into this to brighten it up a little bit instead of the usual black. So that's going to be pretty cool. Really, really excited to get this in. And it's going to be cool, isn't it? Like, properly cool. Anyhow, I'll keep it covered up for now. And very soon we're going to be fitting this, which is going to be amazing. Can't wait for that. I'm a bit tucked up there, and I'll go and get on with some dovetails again. Right, so it got a little late last night to be able to knock these dovetails together. It's another day, it's a sunny day. Let's bang them together and get them straight in this van. That's, like I say, it's all pretty quick from here on out. It's going to look great.
So we are in, and I think we are both pretty stoked with like how much space there still is here. It's really cool. It's been another long old day. We're not quite finished, it's still a work in progress, but we need to get home. It's dark, time to get home to eat and edit, I think, tonight. So yeah, really stoked. Drawers are all in, and actually quite a bit of space in here. Got the Wallas stuff. Obviously it's not all installed, and cannot wait to tell you a bit more about that. Have you noticed all of these vents? So I kind of wish I showed you it before we put all the faces on and things and all the cookers in, because Chris has spent so much time on this whole cabinet, because there's like so many vents and intricate bits here and there to accommodate the two big heat sources. Like even up here we've got the vents along here. It's just all been done so nicely, but there's quite a lot of engineering all hidden behind it all. And there is 100% over 100 parts to this whole cabinet, and that we counted that before we put all the faces on. It's nuts, but now it just looks like one whole thing. We've got the shelves in this cupboard now. Yeah, and it just feels really, really great. So that's both sides of the galley done. Big part of the van done, because Chris and I, we just want to be thinking about the boat. Chris is always thinking about the boat, and the poor guy is having to get his head around the rowboat as well. But yeah, we've got some really cool boat shows coming up. We've got Metz, we've got Boot Dusseldorf, and we're trying to work out how we can get to our own boat. Maybe around those shows, we don't know yet. And it's been really nice hearing about some of our new patrons who have got boat projects themselves. So that's been really, really nice to be chatting to them. Yeah, all super exciting, but it's definitely time for us to get home. So until next time, we'll see you in the comments.